Hi, I'm Shannon Vandermark. This is the Happily Ever After Without Children podcast. Thank you to everyone who's listening and who's been in touch. It's great to know I'm not just talking to a brick wall. Actually, at the moment, I am exactly talking to a brick wall. But I am also traveling at lightning speed down your headphones and through your speakers, and that is exciting. To anyone just tuning in, hello and welcome. This podcast is for anyone who doesn't have children, and for anyone who loves someone who doesn't have children. It's for those who have struggled to conceive, but also for those who have woken up one day and realized it's just a little bit too late. It's also for those triumphant in their decisions to never have children in the first place. Everyone holds a rightful place in this conversation. Everyone. And that means you too, guys. If you like us, please rate us on iTunes. And if you want to really lend a hand in the community, please write a quick review in iTunes. More reviews help make the show more visible to anyone searching for this topic. And I want this show available to any and everyone. Oh, and this is exciting. You can now become a patron. Go to the Happily Ever After Without Children page on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Happily Ever After Podcast to make a monthly contribution so that I can remain an independent producer. In exchange, you will get exclusive downloads and perks. Please also feel free to get involved. If I've learned anything about this topic over the last few months, it's that everyone has an opinion. And that is great. I appreciate hearing from every one of you because it helps me focus and shape future episodes, so keep that feedback coming. It's my goal to give the taboo subject of childlessness a voice and to raise awareness so that hopefully we can lift just a little bit of isolation. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter if you search Happily Ever After Podcast. Welcome to the third episode. I'm so glad that you have subscribed or have found us and are giving us a listen for the first time. This episode is particularly close to my heart. I met sisters Iovana and Sheila in the local support group I started, and I instantly clicked with both of them. Sheila, a teacher, doesn't have children, but what she does have is an infectious and almost mischievous giggle, while Iovana, who is also a teacher and has a son, is slightly quieter, but they both smile almost constantly. I think you can hear it in their voices. Here are Sheila and Iovana talking about Iovana's baby shower.
I didn't go to Iovana's. I don't even know if you invited me.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay, just checking. Just for the record, she did invite me.
Sheila and Iovana are not only sisters, but describe each other as best friends and soulmates. Exactly how I describe my sister. When going through this infertility and pregnancy loss experience, forever praying that no one gets pregnant, but simultaneously assuming that pretty much every woman is, well, it's like being torn in two to hear the news from your sister. And not because you aren't happy for her. God, you are over the moon. But then your heart breaks for yourself, and it makes you so sad to have lost the ability in that moment to put yourself aside for your sister, your best friend, your soulmate. So you kind of break in two. You feel helplessly selfish. I know exactly what that feels like. But what moved me most when I spoke to Sheila and Iovana is that I never really fully appreciated how much pain, my pain, must have caused my own sister. Being the one struggling without children is one thing, but what about our best friends, our mothers, our sisters? What must they be going through?
I don't know whether I was going to offer an abortion or not. But in my head, I couldn't lose Sheila. In my head, all I was thinking was, I can't go through this without her.
This episode is a true testament to the strength, courage, and overwhelming power of love that can exist between sisters. And between the best of friends, who pretty much count as sisters, but from different misters. When I was making plans for the interview to take place at Iovana's home that evening, I 100% invited myself to dinner once I learned that Mauritian Mama Vidge was going to be doing the cooking, and I was not disappointed. It was a delicious chicken and vegetable Mauritian dish called chicken ladoob. I tried to get the recipe, but I don't think I can hold a candle to it, so I'm just going to keep inviting myself over there. Iovana's son Aaron was also at home, so you might hear some doors shutting and general dinnerness going on in the background. At one point, Aaron came in and asked for some Maltesers and to play on his iPad. You can't really hear him, and you obviously can't see him, but he is totally adorable. Take my word for it. We spoke so candidly that evening, and I think everyone in the room was surprised how easily it all came out. Mom Vidge wasn't mic'd up like her daughters, but I found it so touching that she kept coming into the room and kind of perching on the arm of the sofa right next to Sheila, really wanting to be part of the conversation, but possibly unsure what her role was.
Personally, I was hiding my feelings of sorrow, sadness.
Yeah, you did a very good job. No, definitely, yeah.
And I was on my own.
It was hard enough seeing Sheila, but watching my mum as well and how much it had affected her was really tough.
And I don't think I realised just how much, because my mum's so hard, that hard exterior, and I thought she'd probably think, oh, as a matter of fact, it's happened, we just get on with it. Like,
So when's the first time that you talked to your mom about all of this then?
when Mum, I don't even know, we haven't really had a conversation.
No.
No?
So now?
Until, now it's,
We spoke about miscarriages, ectopic pregnancies, and secondary infertility, but we also spoke of hope and the future and of gratitude. We even got some frank insight about what mothers really think.
And I'm not lying to you, but some mothers have days where they're like, I wish I couldn't have kids. I'm not joking. You know, there's no such thing as there's not life without kids. I want to smash that to pieces and say, no, it's not true.
I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll check in with you on the other side.
So I'm Iovana Muniapan. I'm 38 years old, and this is my sister Sheila Everett. There's 7 years difference between us. Growing up, we weren't that close at all.
no,
were we?
definitely not.
I think. Go on.
I think because of the age difference.
Yeah, definitely. But I think when I hit definitely 16, 17 is when our relationship
Dramatically changed.
Started to change.
Complete reversal.
Yeah.
Where we became inseparable.
And who else is here with us today?
Hey, Mum!
Mom's not got a mic on yet. Maybe next time.
I was definitely a mummy's girl.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
And I think Sheila was more of a
absolutely.
daddy's girl.
Yeah.
I suppose being the youngest as well.
Yeah. I was attached to my mum's
Oh,
dress
by the hip.
all the time. Followed her everywhere. Did everything with her, I think. So,
And you were the eldest. You are the
Eldest,
eldest.
yeah.
yeah. Our brother's in the middle of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my parents went to Mauritius for a certain length of time.
Yeah.
And Iovana was on her own with a grandma. And she was calling me really upset. So I used to go every weekend to be with her. And I think that as well
Yeah, definitely.
helped our relationship. And then when I finished uni, we shared a room. And
Yeah, so when you moved back home,
yeah.
then
And,
that's
that
when
was,
we
yeah.
really-
And realised we had so much in common.
Yeah.
Love of music, dancing. Then I could see Iovana coming out of her shell, socialising. So so going back, that's why Iovana was the first port of call.
Yeah, well, I had met a guy who I was with for 5 years at school, at sixth form, and and we had both spoke about getting married, having kids, so it was on the cards for us. Yeah, that was it. It was.
And so what happened to that guy?
So 5 years together, and I didn't see anything wrong with our relationship. We had tiffs like any normal couple would. It was one New Year's Eve after our 5th anniversary together, and he said to me, see, me and Sheila had a very strong bond with my mum and dad, and every New Year's we would always spend it with mum and dad, without fail. All our other friends would be out, clubbing, partying, we always stayed at home. And again, he rang me and said, so are you coming out? And I said, no, I'm going to stay in with mum and dad. So he said to me, my brother's asked me to go to Germany. I'll be back, but I'm going to come back New Year's Day and I'll take you out for lunch. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Didn't think anything of it. Off he went. And the morning of New Year's Day, woke up really excited, thinking, oh, yep, he's taking me for a nice lunch. He rang me in the morning. He said, let's meet at Peaks Express. I need to tell you something.
Oh.
So I said, okay, fine. So I was like, oh my God, he's definitely cheated on me. There's another woman. It's probably happened in Germany. That's all my mindset was on. I was like, another woman, he's cheated on me. So get to the restaurant, sit down, order drinks, and then he said, okay, so I'm going to tell you something. So again, in my head, I'm like, oh God, he's kissed another woman, he slept with another woman. He said to me, I kissed another guy.
Oh.
So for me, I was like, yes, he hasn't slept with another woman. The guy bit went,
Right.
I was just like, oh my God. And he goes, but don't worry, it was a mistake. Still love you, but I want to be honest with you, but, everything's fine. So for me, I was just like, yes, it's fine. He still loves me. There's no woman. There's not another woman.
You're at Pizza Express.
Yeah, I was fine. Happy New Year and all this. So then from there, I went straight to Sheila's house. And she said to me, so what happened? I said, oh God, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. He didn't kiss another woman. It's fine. He still loves me. Everything's on track. She said, well, but what was it? You were lying in bed that day and I got into bed with you in your room. And you said, but what was it then? I said, oh, he just said that he kissed a guy. But it was nothing, didn't mean anything. And she went, Iovana, did you hear what you just said? I said, what? And she goes, he kissed another guy. And I was like, yeah. She was like, so is he gay? I was like, oh. And then it all just
penny dropped.
dawned on me. That was my dreams shattered completely because I was like, oh my God, I'm not getting married. I'm not going to have kids.
How old were you at this point?
So I was 23, yeah.
So you're like, this is happening.
Yeah, so I said to Mum, I'm going to get my teaching degree, then I'm going to go to the sperm bank. Don't want to see another man, hear about another man. I'm done. I'll go to the sperm bank, have my baby, Mum, buy my house, and that was it. That was 100% what I was going to do with my life. And then the last year of uni is when Sandy came along. So my aunt had rang my mum and said, there's this boy who we think would be a really good match for Iovana. So my mum had rang me in the September of that year and told me, and I was like, Mum, no, he obviously wants a British passport to stay in England. There is no way I'm meeting this Mauritian guy. No, it's not happening. So Sandy's 2 years older than me, but he was looking for a wife at this point. He was like, oh, I do want to settle down, but he was like, no, I'm not having any introductions and all of that. It's too old-fashioned, not doing it.
Was he worried that you wanted a green card?
No, he doesn't think he was actually.
Did he not?
No,
Okay,
he didn't like the idea. Thank you, Mum. He didn't like the idea of his mum being involved with it. Yeah, that's fine. So January comes along, and again they're pursuing both of these aunts. So Rebecca, my best friend at uni, she said to me, she goes, why don't you just go and meet him? She's like, just go. What have you got to lose? You never know. I was like, oh God, okay, fine, I'll go. So both aunts had set it up for a Sunday evening. So on the Sunday evening, I was just about to leave the house, and Rebecca said to me, is this the day you're going to meet that guy? And I said, yeah. And she said, what, and you're going like that? So I hadn't even washed my hair. I was in my old jeans, just a T-shirt. She goes, you are not going like that. She goes, go and wash your hair and I'll blow dry it for you. She's like, you never know, you might end up marrying this guy. And she said that in our wedding speech. So she blew dry my hair, luckily, blow dried my hair. And I got to the house expecting a guy that was quite ugly, which is bad of me, and that probably didn't know much English, and he opened the door,
fresh off the boat,
and I was smitten the minute I saw him, and yeah, the rest pretty much is history, which is so corny, but
no, it's so sweet,
really
isn't it?
Did happen that way.
Yeah.
So as I was in my bubble of Sandy.
Your Sandy bubble?
My Sandy bubble, yeah.
Yeah.
You were going through some difficult times, weren't you?
Yes. I have experienced a pain in my shoulder. And just by chance, the doctor came and he was brilliant. He said, well, why are you holding your shoulder? And I said, oh, I don't know. It's probably when this morning. He said, I need to do some more tests on you. So I thought, okay, fine, before I discharge you. He comes back, he said, you are pregnant. I'm like, oh my God, I'm pregnant, wow. And then he looked at me, he goes, this is not good. It's called an ectopic pregnancy. You need to phone your family. And then they said I had to go in for emergency surgery. Just like that.
Just like that. They rushed her in.
And for anyone who doesn't understand what ectopic pregnancies are, what was happening?
The fetus was growing outside of the womb
Right.
into the fallopian tube, which is dangerous. And I'd started to bleed now internally and losing lots of blood. It was affecting organs. So straight away they have to go in. And they had to partially remove my right fallopian tube. If it's an ectopic, you know that's it.
Yeah.
You're losing that baby.
They call it,
But
it's not
not
viable
viable.
pregnancy.
So not, yeah.
is
Right.
what they say.
It was, I just remember that physical pain was awful as well. Obviously the emotional, I think the emotional kicked in probably about 2-3 days afterwards, and I just couldn't face anyone. And I remember phoning my mum, Iovana. I said, right, I don't want to see you, do not come to the hospital. But they did anyway, but I'm glad that they did. And it's just the worst experience. And then Iovana got married. And then I made the decision, because I was single then.
Right.
I went to Hammersmith Hospital to inquire about being, having a sperm donor.
Right.
Looked into that, got the money, had all of that ready to go and sign papers.
Wow.
Then I meet Junior on a hen night. Literally a couple of weeks before.
Yeah.
I remember my best friend and I, we went there, ready to sign, we were going to pick the sperm and blah, blah, blah. And literally met Junior, and that was it. Fell in love straight away.
So you met your current
I
husband.
met my current husband.
And
yes.
your only husband.
Exactly. And then within 6 months of me and Junior being together, fell pregnant. And this one was near fatal, the second ectopic. All the consultants, doctors have come around saying, we've got to get her in now, and we're not going to lose her. I remember them saying all of this. We're not going to lose this patient tonight. We've got to get her in straight away. And then that was it. That's the last I heard. Well, what I remember.
And God, seeing her was, nothing could have prepared me for that. She was all swollen. Her whole body, she looked dead. She did not look alive to me. The only reason I knew she was alive was because there was a machine next to her. But she, yeah,
Scary.
It was really bad.
It was a really, really tough time.
Yeah.
And then 2008, literally 1 year after the whole ectopic, to the date, and I was at home with my mum. I was like, it's a year since it's all happened. Oh my God, getting drunk. Junior had gone away to Jamaica. Then we get a phone call from Iovana.
I started to feel ill, feel a bit sick. So I was thinking, is it some kind of ache? Sandy's like, do you not think you're pregnant? And I went, no, the doctor said at least 2 to 3 years, not 2 weeks, Sandy. So he went and got a pregnancy test, and I took the test and almost collapsed in the bathroom through pure shock and disbelief that I was pregnant. Just couldn't get my head around it. And then the realisation came over me, how am I possibly going to tell Sheila this? It was the first thing I thought of was Sheila, and I thought, how am I possibly going to give her this news? I think it was 2 days later that I mustered up the courage to ring her and say, let's meet, and then she said, okay. She said, what do you want to meet for? And I said, I've got something to tell you. She said, okay. And then I thought, oh God, I can't not tell her before I meet her. I was thinking to myself, she needs time to process it. So I just blurted it out. I said, I'm pregnant. And it was silence.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh my God, do I talk? Do I let her talk? All of this is going through my mind, sick in my stomach, the feeling. And she said, okay, do you want to meet? And I was like, oh. I had a sense of relief. So I said, yeah. And then you went, I've got to go. And then that sick feeling came back. And I said, okay. And I was distraught. I was crying to Sandy. I said, she's never going to talk to me again. How are we possibly going to get through this as sisters? I said, I've got the one thing that she wants. And I was thinking, how am I possibly going to go through 9 months without my sister by my side? How am I possibly going to bring a baby into this world without my sister, without he or her or his or her auntie? And she's not just my sister, she's my best friend, she's my soulmate. And I couldn't do it. And I thought, if I have to do this on my own, I don't think I can. Thankfully, at about 2:00, she left me a message saying, let's meet. I was like, oh my God, thank you, God. I was literally thanking God, thinking, oh my God, thank you. She's made contact with me. Surely that's a positive thing. So I drove to her house. That was a drive and a half. There was so many things going on in my mind. I was like, do I say to her, if you can't deal with this, do I speak to Sandy? That's how close me and Sheila are. That actually I was putting Sheila before my husband.
As in, what were you going to do? What were you going to offer?
I don't know whether I was going to offer an abortion or not. But in my head, I couldn't lose Sheila. In my head, I couldn't even think of it as a baby. I didn't even say a baby. I was saying, I'm pregnant. I didn't have a bond with this thing that was growing. I didn't even think of all of that. All I was thinking was, I can't go through this without her. I can't do it. So anyway, I got to her house and she was really distant, really, really distant. And she said to me, she didn't even get into the house. At the doorstep, she said to me, should we go for a walk? And then I thought, that's it. She's going to say to me, I can't do this. We need to go our separate ways. I can't do this. She was nothing what I was expecting. She said to me, I'm there for you. You'll be fine. It'll be okay. She took my hand. We were sat on a bench. She took my hand. She said, it'll be fine. You'll be okay.
I do remember that.
And I was just, oh my God, yeah. At this point, she was desperate to have a child with Junior because they were settled. He had moved into the house. And so 9 months was really rocky for me. It was so unbelievably hard. I was going through so many things in the pregnancy, and all I wanted to do was ring her and say, She, this has happened, or oh God, She, I'm feeling like this. And I couldn't, and I missed her so much. I was stopping myself calling her because I was scared I was going to slip something out about the pregnancy, and I didn't want her to feel that way. And when we would go and visit, she would be all over my tummy, which inside I was like, oh, but I never let on to her. I was like, yeah, it's fine, and would push her away because I didn't want her to hurt. But now, in hindsight, I wish I'd been like that. I wish I'd been more natural with you, but I don't know if you picked up on it or not.
No, I don't think I did.
I just didn't want her to hurt, and I knew she was. But she never let on to me that she was hurting. She was unbelievably supportive, and she kept pushing my tummy, saying, come on, baby, come on, give me a kick, and stuff like that. And I remember once sitting in your sitting room and the baby kicked, and all I wanted to do was say, She, come and feel the kick. But I didn't, because I didn't want her. I didn't want to hurt her at all. And Sandy told me off for that, and he said, it's not fair. He said, she's the baby's aunt. That she deserves to feel that baby kick. He said, you can't do that. That's not fair. But I never did the whole 9 months. I never put it in front of her. I never got her to touch or anything. I literally let her lead me. I don't know if that was right or wrong, but I just couldn't.
I don't think there is a right or wrong way. You just don't know, do you?
What it is that, especially for people who are so close to you, your family or best friend that's going through it, I don't think you guys understand how much it affects us, how much your hurt.
Yeah,
we take on. That. And I know that sounds corny, but it's so. I'm being 100% honest. The amount of pain Sheila was feeling, I was really feeling that. And all I wanted was for her to just be happy. And I knew the only thing that would make her happy was a baby. And that's the one thing she couldn't have.
Do you remember anything about Aaron being born, or like?
Other than Iovana being 9 months, obviously heavily pregnant, I think when did you come? I mean, Aaron was born on the 28th of December. I think Iovana came over the 27th, or even on that same day.
No, the 28th.
So on the same day, the 28th.
Sorry, no,
and
the 27th.
The
In the
27th.
evening.
And that's the first time, my first recollection of seeing, oh my God, my sister is pregnant, she's going to be a mum. And I think at that point I was excited. There's going to be a baby in the family. So I didn't really think about me at that point. And then I got the call, Iovana had gone into labour. And
this is a really strange thing. So I'd gone into labour and I was at Kingston Hospital. And so Sandy had called, he knew I'd want Sheila to know and my mum. So he rang them straight away. They came and I'd been pushing and pushing for about an hour and a half. And the midwife said to Sandy, I remember her saying this, why isn't this baby coming out? She's pushing and pushing, she's not pushing enough. I was on gas and air. Luckily, I didn't need anything else. I was on gas and air. And then I think Sheila had rang Sandy, and Sandy said, oh, your sister and your mum's outside. And the midwife said, and Sandy said, can they come in? And she went, oh, not really. As she said to me after, my body language, when she said, no, they can't come in, had slumped. I didn't know any of this. She told me this after, that my body language slumped. So she said, actually, Sandy, she said, call them in. So she called Sheila and my mum in. They both came to the bed, and I was a bit out of it. And Sheila came round to my face, and I just looked at her, and I had so much pain for her, and I just thought, oh God, she's so strong to even have come into the room with me. And do you remember me doing this to your face?
Yeah.
And I grabbed her face like this, and I thought, I'm getting this baby out for her. And I don't know what would have happened if it gave me a strength, and I literally gave one push.
I was there
and the
the entire time I saw Aaron being born.
Yeah, she was
Me
there.
and Sandy were there. And I don't know where I did get that strength. But then...
And you gave me that strength to push. And the midwife noticed that, and she said to me after the birth, she said, your sister came in the room, you held your sister's cheek, and suddenly you pushed the baby out.
Wow.
I'll never forget her saying that to me.
But then I got in the car, managed to keep it together, dropped my mum home, and that was it. For the entire evening, night, non-stop crying, drinking heavily, smoking one cigarette after another. Gina didn't even know what to do. And in those days, Gina and I, with grief and the whole emotion, we didn't talk about it. We never talked about the ectopic pregnancy, what I went through.
Right.
It was off the table. We just didn't talk about it. If I was crying, I'd be upstairs, he'd be downstairs, wait for me to stop crying, then see if I was okay. Let's have dinner, and that was it. I did see Aaron in hospital.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I came to the ward, I think, the next day.
With a stinking hangover.
Yes, indeed, and a big smile on my face, and obviously fell in love with Aaron straight away, and yeah, the rest is history, me and him.
So then Aaron was, I think, 2.5.
2, yeah.
It was summer, and Sandy's dad had gone in for a heart operation, and he passed away suddenly in the hospital. So we had gone to the hospital that night, and the next day, obviously all family were coming over to pay respects, and I was sick in the toilet, and I was thinking, it must be the grief. We hadn't hardly eaten or anything. I rang Sheila that night, and I was crying, telling her about Sandy's dad. And I said, I've even been sick. And she goes, have you eaten? And I said, no, I'm not eating much. Next day I was sick again. I rang Sheila again. I was talking. I said, I've been sick again. And she said, Iovana, she goes, you're not pregnant?
Yeah.
And I went, no. I said, I was on the pill at the time.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
the week before, I was on antibiotics.
Oh.
I had my first scan was due for September, and we got into the room, and the midwife started the ultrasound, and then she said, I'm just going to go and get someone and I'll be back. I still didn't think anything of it because I've never experienced that.
Right.
So she came back, someone else came, and then they went out of the room. They came back and they said, "We're really sorry, but we think you've had a miscarriage." And I just wasn't prepared for it at all. And I just was screaming and crying. And Sandy he was like, "Shh, calm down." And he was like, "Shh, you're making..." He was worried about
the
other
noise
people
that you're making.
hearing us. So January, I had a pain in my stomach. So I rang Sheila straight away. I was like, "Oh God, I don't feel right. I've got this pain." As soon as I said to her arms, I said, "I've got pain in my arms," she went, "Oh my God, Iovana,
It's an ectopic.
you might be pregnant." I was like, "Oh God, well I am off the pill." And she's like, "Sounds like an ectopic." She goes, "You need to call the ambulance, you need to go." Sandy's like, "We are not calling an ambulance. This is not an emergency." He was like, "Let's ring 118, 911 or something."
111 or whatever.
So we rang that, and they said, you are telling us signs of an ectopic pregnancy. They said, "You need to get to the hospital." And they said, and that's when the consultant said to me, "I'm sorry, it's not a viable pregnancy. This is an ectopic pregnancy, and you're not going to have a baby through this." And I just, again, world shattered. And they said it was my left tube, same tube as Sheila's.
Honestly, it's really bizarre.
It's not even hereditary, is it?
No.
So this was completely a miscarriage first and then an ectopic.
Within a space of 3 months, that was.
Yeah. So I was in for a week, and Sandy brought Aaron to come and see me. And it's the first time Aaron had seen me in any kind of situation, even being ill, because I've normally been a very healthy person. And his little face, seeing me on a drip, just broke my heart then. And then I thought, no, that's it. Can't put him through this anymore. And then I said to Sandy, "That's it. We're not trying again. Can't do this anymore." It's just... And then I realised what Sheila had gone through all these years.
And what was...
God, that was really hard. It was just a realisation of all those months, years of what she'd gone through, all those appointments where you've got your hopes up, all the praying, your fingers crossed at every scan. Then it really hit me at what she'd...
Where were you at that point in terms... Were you still trying when Iovana decided to
Yes. Junior was very reluctant. And he said, "I cannot go through what I went through that night in the hospital when you had that ectopic." And Shannon, that was the first time in 3-4 years that Junior had actually opened up and told me, and he was crying. And
at this point, Sheila rang me and she's like, "I've had enough of him." She's like, "I can't do this. Why is he doing this to me? I want children. Why isn't he?" And I said, "Sheila, have you listened to what he just said to you?" I was like, "You have no..." That's the first time that I was honest with her. And I said, "You have no idea what me, Mum and Junior had to go through that night." And that's when the first time, wasn't it, that I explained to you exactly what had happened that night.
And I didn't realise, because it was all about me, what I had gone through. I nearly died. You lot need to understand this. But I'd never once, Shannon, ever thought about what Junior had gone through that night, Iovana or my mum, or just how serious the whole situation was for them. I knew, obviously, for me. So, yeah, so that was a real eye-opener.
And like Iovana was saying, the months, weeks, days that follow, how that impacts everybody. And he's living with you, so
so he sees me crying.
Yeah.
It's obviously not happening to him physically, but seeing somebody that you love in pain is exhausting, I imagine, and heartbreaking.
And not to mention events that happen throughout the year. So every Mother's Day was horrendous. I can't even describe to you how horrendous Mother's Days were. I remember one Mother's Day leaving Aaron to go and find her on a bench, just absolutely distraught, like couldn't even console her. My dad ringing me saying, "Iovana, I don't know what to do. She's left the house. I don't know where she is. Come and see if you can find her." So Mother's Day was one. Christmas was even more horrendous, and I didn't live with her, so what poor Junior had to go through.
What was the Christmas? connection.
Because we were very family orientated, and I always thought I'd have the children, we would be around the Christmas tree, you know, me making dinner, they opening presents. So every Christmas was just heart-wrenching.
It was smashing plates.
Smashing plates, the Christmas tree, the decorations, probably kicking Junior out, his suitcase out on the street.
It was
It was everything.
For how many years?
Oh, goodness me.
6.
Possibly 6, if not more, I don't know. I'd be in bed all day. Don't talk to me, not talking to you, not eating,
She would
not
ring
drinking.
the family and she'd say, leave me alone tomorrow. I'm telling you now, I don't want to hear. I'm not going to answer my phone. My phone's going to be silent. Don't worry. Just leave me alone. Cool. And then she started helping. You used to go and help with the crisis.
I went to crisis, so Christmas Day I'll be there.
Which is a homeless charity.
But
Yes.
Boxing Day she was better. So it was just getting over the Christmas Day.
It's just that expectation of the vision in your head
family.
of
Yes.
the picture,
of what Christmas looks like.
the painting.
Yes.
Which, have we ever seen that in reality?
Exactly.
I haven't. I mean, I've seen some efforts, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's that idealized vision.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just events. It's so she could go. So she'd get over Christmas. January would come. That would be fine. February would come. Someone in her work would fall pregnant.
Right.
And it would bring her right back to the beginning again, right down. She'd get over that in March. No, then March would be Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I knew all of this, Shannon. Every year, I knew the pattern. Mm-hmm. April, not too bad. Easter wasn't too bad. But summer, you'd always get all the pregnancies, and summer again, which would bring her right back down again.
I knew the due dates of...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another
Well,
one.
what about baby showers? I mean, would you be invited to those?
I didn't go to Iovana's. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I don't even know if you invited me.
Yes, I
Oh, you
did, she.
Oh, okay, just checking. Just for the record, she did invite me. And I was thinking, what the hell are these baby showers that never existed before? Now everyone's having baby showers.
You can thank America for that
Oh,
bullshit.
right.
So, how are you both now then, and what's different from those years
For
of
me,
patterns?
biggest difference is obviously what I've gone through with 2. So obviously I can relate so much more to what Sheila's gone through. Obviously what's happened to me doesn't come anywhere near to what Sheila's experienced, but at least I've got a bit of more of an understanding. But I think the support group was the biggest breakthrough ever.
Seriously, Shannon, yeah.
And Sheila rang me. She said, there's this girl called Shannon. And she was like, but I don't know if I can go to this group on my own. She's like, will you come with me? I was like, but I've got a child. I feel... She's like, doesn't matter, just come. So I thought, oh, fine, I'll just sit there and not talk. It's fine. That's what I was going to do, wasn't it? So we went there and we both came out with so much more, even me. And I was so shocked. I think for Sheila's breakthrough for me was she spoke that day at the support group.
What do you think made you open up?
I think, Shannon, I'd really hit rock bottom. And I knew that I just couldn't continue like this. And I remember coming home, this is another night, and seeing the tablets there. And I was like, you know, this is so easy to just take them and just end all of this pain, because I can't. I don't know how I'm to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get over this. And then, I don't know, something just clicked inside. It's like, okay, no, I do want to live. I've got a husband. I do want to make my marriage work. I've got a lovely family. I've got my niece and my nephew. Oh my God, what would they say to them about me? What happened? And I was like, no, that's it. No, I'm going to fight for this. And I had to come to terms with, I can't have children. 44, 45. There's got to be more to life than this.
Yeah.
I think what we've learned, and I think you've learned, is to be honest and say, yes, I can deal with this. No, I can't. But I think we've got to learn to be honest about
and
it.
have that open conversation.
Yeah.
I'm so open now at work. I had a parent come to me yesterday. She goes, "Oh, you've got children?" I was like, "No, unfortunately, sadly, I can't. But you know what? I see this, the students here as my children." She's like, "Oh." And I tell, I've told a lot of staff today, "Oh, today we're going to be recording. We've got the podcast." And they're like, "Really? Oh my God, that's amazing. Tell us more. We'd like to listen."
Aww.
So I feel more confident to definitely talk about being a woman that can't have children.
So I think there's a responsibility on the part of us who are hurting and for those who care about us. So I think it's a bit of both. But it's just honest. You're right. It's honesty, which can be really hard when you're trying to be positive and you're trying to protect the other person.
Definitely. It's the hardest thing.
Oh my goodness. It consumes you, that grief.
Mm-hmm. And before what happened to me, I used to get really angry at her. She's got an amazing career. I mean, she's an amazing teacher. She's got a lovely house. I said, "You don't know how lucky you are." I don't think I did say this to you. But
you have said that.
Okay. No, recently I've been stronger to say it to you. But at the time, I wasn't strong enough to say, "Oh my God, just stop. Just stop and look at your life and think, hang on a minute. I've got all of this. I'm healthy. I've got a lovely husband who adores her, loves the bones of her." Some people don't have that at all. And I just didn't feel like she could see any of that. And I was getting really frustrated until I went through what she went through. And then I was angry for having those feelings. But if you don't go through it, and there's so many women out there who don't go through it, how could they ever possibly relate and understand?
Yeah.
Can I play on my iPad? Yes.
Man, I want some Maltesers. So cute. Guest appearance.
I do think I went through postnatal depression, but didn't do anything about it because that's what women do. You just carry on. And I don't think you couldn't understand that because obviously you're not mothers and, how could you possibly? But there is a side to motherhood that is not all wow and, there really isn't.
And handmade cards.
Yeah.
Delivered to you in bed.
Yeah. And I do think, again, that's a taboo subject that women who have children don't feel like they can openly say, "Oh my God, today I couldn't even look at my child because all they did was scream, and I felt like I could actually just leave my child on the doorstep and shut the door and come in and just..."
Well, I have when my sister and I have some similar friends, and I remember one of my to me, the most heartbreaking thing next to just not having children is that I couldn't be there as a big sister. And so while it was hard to have her going through the pregnancy, I didn't have any advice for her for the first time in my life. Like, I'm 3 years older than her. I couldn't.
I didn't think about it like that.
But we have a friend who's incredibly frank, and she would say, "Oh, okay. Well, the only advice you need to give her is from me, and like it's totally normal if you want to abandon your baby." And I'm like, "Really? Is that a thing?" She's like, "It's totally a thing, and it happens a lot."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, I'll tell her." So, how do you think you are now? Would you say you're happily ever after?
Honestly, yeah. Now I am. Asked me that 8 months ago, I'd have said no. I'm so unhappy in life, and if I could end it, I would. But now I'm at the point where it's all about Gina and I in a marriage, and we've got so much to look forward to without having children. And I'm sure there will be days, where I will be upset, of course, but it's now less. I can't remember the last time I had an emotional breakdown. I don't think I've even had one this year. Mother's Day was the best day ever. Junior, honestly, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But isn't it funny, because that's this year that you guys went out for Mother's Day, wasn't it?
Yes.
The Mother's Day a year ago, exactly to the day, we sat on that bench. That was the time that she'd gone a bit AWOL, and I drove over to see her on that Mother's Day. We sat on a bench and I said, "You have got to find other people who are going through this. There must be out there some people who are going through the same thing, and you need to organise like a dinner on this day, go out for drinks, do something.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys did. This is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like our prayers had been answered or something.
So that is some advice that you would give to somebody is find a network.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You have to, yeah. That's what saved my life, I would say. I know that sounds dramatic,
No.
but it honestly did.
It's only recently that we've been opening up and saying, oh, this is what I felt at that
Yes.
time, and this is what I thought at that time. It's only that I've been able to say things to you about
Yeah.
Aaron's and the pregnancy, and
Yeah.
isn't it?
And so I guess everybody closes their hope window at different times. But as long as you've got that open and you're just kind of looking out on somebody else's life, you're not really living yours, I think.
No. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, some people never close it. But it's kind of like, you just have to open the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are lots of doors there, but
Yeah.
I don't think we have the tools or strategies at some point to know what to do. And Junior and I now are more honest about it all, and we celebrate now. We've got Father's Day coming up Sunday. We've already organised what we're going to do. I've got him a card, I've got him a present. I wrote a lovely message.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So
What you did for Christmas this year was nice.
yes.
Wasn't it, when you got us all round? didn't
Yeah, for Christmas, we were all, together. We said a prayer, we lit a candle. And I texted my mum in Rich. I said, look, light a candle for your grandchild today. Yeah. Mm.
That's really
So
nice.
we do a lot now, buy flowers, and me and June now always talking about how the baby would have been, but it's in a nice, positive mood and way. And we laugh and we joke, and rather than being morbid.
Yeah.
And avoiding.
And avoiding, exactly. And Junior's so much, more relaxed, and he will talk openly as well. We went to marriage counselling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that helped both of us. I think, the message for me is to have that honest conversations with your family and with your friends.
Yeah.
As hard as it may be, but moving forward, it is definitely the best thing to do.
Don't suffer in silence.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, ladies.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Thanks for being so open. Good sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. If you have any comments or feedback, or if you have your own story to tell and would like to be a guest on the program, please email me at reachhappilyeverafter@gmail.com. If you like us, please rate us on iTunes, and if you want to really contribute to the community, please write a quick review in iTunes. More reviews help make the show more visible to anyone searching for this topic, and I want this show available to any and everyone. And become a patron. Go to the Happily Ever After Without Children page on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Happily Ever After podcast to make a monthly contribution so that I can remain an independent producer and so that you can get exclusive perks. Yay! You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter if you search Happily Ever After podcast. And finally, please share details of this podcast with your network of friends and family. You never know who else might be suffering and could really use a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. This is your host, Shannon Vandermark, and I thank you for listening.